So let's jump right into Kenobi, because that was one of the
Sure.
big things that it wasn't necessarily like a con exclusive.
Hmm.
It just happened to be coming out around the same time. And so I think they realized that at some point and were like, hey, let's
Hmm.
do a thing. Let's do a screening. So they did do a
Did you get
screening.
in?
I did get in, which
Nice.
sometimes I feel bad getting into
I felt
things
bad.
that I didn't earn because I didn't actually go to the panel that you were supposed to get the wristband, but because I knew somebody that could help me out, that kind of thing. So
Hey, you got to see that on a giant screen. Don't feel bad. Respect.
no, it was fun. It was definitely fun to see that with like diehard fans. It's a whole different
Hmm.
experience than watching it in my living room at,
Yep.
whatever time of night after my kids have gone to bed.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
had witnesses. Like usually I watched alone in my living room too. And this time I had witnesses when I'm assuming we can talk some spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah, let's give the spoiler alert now. We're going to talk spoilers for the first 3 episodes of Kenobi. Fourth episode will probably be out by the time this goes out, but we won't talk that because it hasn't happened yet for us.
Yeah. I can't see the future. But what I can tell you is that in the past, I definitely fell out of my chair as soon as Alderaan came on the screen.
Uh,
And I was watching in a hotel room with like five or so of my friends. And so everyone got to see me just like have an emotional meltdown over that. And that just sort of feels like one of the special things you get to do. Like you can always watch episodes with your friends, but like it's a very different environment. Um, and I'm glad they did like the two of them together. I'm glad they moved the release date up for or the release time up for everyone else. Um,
yeah, that was nice
I'm
because at first, when they first announced that they were doing the screening and it was going to be at like 7 p.m.,
mhm,
I did feel bad for the people that didn't get in because it wasn't supposed to come on in the West Coast till midnight.
mhm,
And so for everyone else, it's like, oh, I got to stay up till midnight and then, stay up for a couple hours watching it. So I'm
mhm.
glad they bumped the time up to 9 and made it
Yes.
much more reasonable for people that
Yes.
didn't get the 7 o'clock show and you just had to wait a couple hours and then you got to watch it. So yeah. So I would have done the same thing as you. If I hadn't have snuck into the room with some help, I would have definitely just met up with some friends and tried to watch it in a hotel room.
No, it was perfect. Means I had enough time to like eat dinner, which was my first meal that day that wasn't a protein bar. So I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm really digging the show so far. Like, really, really, I think a part of me was trying to like hold back and thought I might just so I wouldn't be disappointed. Like, I was trying to set my expectations low. But Deborah
Mhm.
Chow has done such an amazing job with the show. After the first two episodes, I like immediately went online and bought one of those directed by Deborah Chow t-shirts
Uh,
because I was just like, I'm all in. What about have you been liking it so far?
yeah, I've been liking it so far. It's the direction they've gone with it was surprising to me, but I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what I expected. When you hear there's going to be an Obi-Wan show, you almost just expect it to be like, John Jackson Miller's Kenobi novel, like
Yeah.
something like that. Maybe not the exact same story, but something. He's in the desert, something happens. He's got to go up against the something
Mm-hmm.
while protecting Luke or whatever. And so that's just kind of what I expected. They've really taken it beyond anything I would have guessed. And I know
And
there were
it's
some
really
rumors.
working.
Say that again.
It's really working for me too, because like I've said on Twitter before that like I really did not want to see Obi-Wan and Anakin or Vader face off in the
Yeah.
show. Like I didn't think it was necessary. And I still don't think it was necessary, but like, holy crap, episode three. Holy crap. That's the most scared I've been of Vader since the end of Rogue One.
He was, yeah, he was very, I don't know what I expected, but he was so dark in the first, when he's going down that roadway or whatever in the
Mm-hmm.
village, and you have the family he snaps the one kid's neck.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, oh, okay. Like, I know that that's what he does, right? Like, Anakin's known for killing children, I guess, to an extent. But the fact that they showed that
Mm-hmm.
was almost like them saying, yeah, we brought Hayden back, but don't think that this is a, kind of, we're not going to necessarily humanize this character for you in this show. This is us showing you how bad he is, not necessarily for us to kind of humanize him. And it
And
was,
he doesn't need to be humanized. Like he's freaking Vader in the midst of his, for lack of a better term, his villain era is what's going
Yeah,
on here. Like when
right.
they're dragging Kenobi in the fire, I was like, oh my God, what is happening?
Oh, that was so hard to watch. And I will say, for me, admitted Jedi Kenobi fanboy. Like, I'll just
Mm-hmm,
admit it. So,
mm-hmm,
like, you want to see him kick butt.
mm-hmm,
That's kind of what not that I don't understand the story and like,
mm-hmm,
okay, I get it. He's in a bad place. He's not going to
mm-hmm,
be the Kenobi that we've seen previously, but you still have that kind of desire.
mm-hmm,
And so for me, as a big fan of that character, although I understand the character arc, it's
mm-hmm.
really hard for me to watch him be this way and be kind of cowardly, very, just kind of run
Broken.
down.
He's broke. That's a broken
Yeah,
man.
he's broken, and it's hard to watch. It's something
Mm-hmm.
where, as a fan of that character, it's just like, oh man, like it's so sad to see this. And I don't know, there's not a lot of space. There's only 3 more episodes,
Six. Yeah.
6 total episodes, and they might not get to a point where he's doing anything super cool.
So I think he's going to, but it's
Yeah.
not going to be. My speculation is it won't be it'll never be to the extent of what we saw in like Revenge of the Sith, because they're both older now.
Mm-hmm.
That's not who they are, and this does have to be the natural progression between episodes 3 and their duels in 3 and 4, since we're about the halfway mark. But I do also think that the way it's a TV show, but like from the way they've talked about it before, it feels, I think they've been thinking of it more as like a 6-hour movie. And so this might actually, I think this will be extremely interesting to go back and watch once all the episodes are out, because I think you'll get more of that, like you'll get more of that altogether, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So were you as excited to see Leia as you were to see Alderaan?
Oh God, yes.
Did it take it to the next level?
I I was like, Alderaan, okay, holy crap, that's so cool. And I was like, we'll just see like a little kid running in the distance. And then it was more than like, I was like, we'll get Bail. Like, oh my God, are we getting like Bria or get like, holy crap, that's been years. But like, even as we were coming in on her, I was just like, is this happening? Is this happening? And that was never, I think that's the magical thing about the show for me is there's so many things it's doing where I'm like, if you asked me in a vacuum or you asked me a month ago, I would have told you like, I think that's highly unnecessary. Like we don't need to see it, but it's so well executed. And like, you know me, I'm a huge, like Leia is one of my 2 favorite Star Wars characters of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And then getting to see her like as this kid, it felt so seamless. And I can only imagine what Claudia Gray felt like watching those episodes, because she fits so well with how we see her, 5 years later in Leia Princess of Alderaan. And like,
Yeah.
I was happy, this snarky little child. And even as I just get stabbed in the heart every other conversation she has with Kenobi, the one of like, oh, are you my father, and his comment about I wish I could say I was just like, just right here, just keep stabbing it.
Yeah. That was probably the biggest surprise for me. The fact that, kind of like you, I expected if they're going to show her, it's going to be off in the distance, kind of like what they showed in the trailers with Luke. He sees him
Mm-hmm.
with the binoculars, and he's not really right there. You don't even
Mm-hmm.
hear that character talk, at least not yet. So I kind of expected that for Leia if they showed her, but the fact that she's a major character, if not the co-star
Mm-hmm.
of the show, I was like, oh wow, this is very surprising. And then I was automatically nervous because I tend to not be a big fan of like child actor
Mm-hmm.
driven shows. And so I'm like, oh no, it's one thing for like Baby Yoda, a puppet, alien, whatever, but to actually have a human child acting alongside of Ewan McGregor as the
Mm-hmm.
entirety of the series, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. But luckily, perfect casting. And she's really knocking it out of the park so far. She's very
So good.
subtle in her acting. Sometimes child actors can kind of pull me out of something just because they just don't typically have the acting skill that an adult would have.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can kind of pull me out of it. And she so far hasn't. just really endearing personality. Makes you smile every time she says something. So it's definitely, I'm like, okay, if you're gonna do the whole child actor thing, you nailed it with the casting. So I'll do it. I'll go along with
I
it.
can't I can't believe they found her. I can't believe they
Is she
found
from
her and
anything
they kept
else
it a
or?
secret. I have no idea, but I'm just like, this is like the proof, I think, is that when Lucasfilm wants to keep something a secret between this and Grogu, they will keep it a secret.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, they're good at it for sure.
yep.
And I'm glad because if that had been spoiled, I think it would have
Oh
changed
God, I know.
the way a lot of people feel about the show because then they would have already automatically started criticizing the choice before they even
Mm-hmm.
got to see it. And the fact
Mm-hmm.
that they were able to keep it a secret for someone like me who maybe would have been, not that I'm the type of person to be like vocally critical about things,
Mm-hmm.
before airing, but in my own head, I would have been thinking, oh, really? This is going to be about a kid Leia. Like, that's not what I want to see. And the fact that they surprised me with it, I think helped with the
Mm-hmm.
acceptance of it. So yeah, good on
And
them.
also, I just love no spoilers. Like I love
Mm.
to go into something having no idea what's going to go on and then just see where those emotions take me. And if I'm just crying on the floor, don't worry about it. It's fine. I'll be okay in a few hours.
Yeah. So we don't have to spend too much time on it overall,
Mhm.
but a couple other key things.
Mhm.
So we have Inquisitors and one
Mhm.
main Inquisitor, I guess, that's
I
doing
love
all the
her.
hunting.
I love
Uh
her.
Third sister, right?
Yeah, third sister.
Okay. Yeah. So how excited were you to, I mean, this show is definitely hitting your kind of key
They
things,
came
right?
for
Because
me
you literally,
personally.
you literally cosplay as an
Yeah,
Inquisitor.
seventh
So
sister. I'm not gonna lie, a part of me is still holding on to like a tiny bit of hope that we might get to see just like a cameo, like even if it's just like her in the background. I'm like, please, please give it to me, please. You have fifth. Come on, just you can put
right.
Sarah Michelle Gellar in the suit. It's fine. Um, I think the Inquisitor is one of the coolest things, and like seeing their fortress pulled right out of Jedi Fallen Order is so neat. Um, I will say I also think that the Grand Inquisitor looks so much better moving than he did in any of those publicity stills.
Hmm.
Um, I'm also trying not to think too hard about it because I'm trying to give people I'm trying to wait to see what happens with the next few episodes before I start being like, you broke canon, how dare you? Um, but I really love Moses Ingram. Like she's so good. Um, and I'm very curious to see more of her. And I really hope she makes it out of the series alive, even though I think it's unlikely, but I'm hoping.
Yeah, I feel like it's unlikely too. Uh,
I just
and
want a
it,
black woman to live for once. Like, come on, Star Wars.
right. Yeah. Yeah. It was really cool to see the Inquisitors included. I like that because that's an idea that, came about in an animated TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that that's now made it to live action and they really embrace that as part of the canon, a major part
Mm-hmm.
of the canon, um, it definitely something I wouldn't have expected to see. And to give us some new Inquisitors, but also mixing in ones that we know,
Mm-hmm.
is really cool as well. So it's not like they said, okay, we'll take the idea of an Inquisitor, but let's recreate, what they really are
Yeah.
for live action. They really stuck to kind of what had been done before, which I always like to
Mm-hmm.
see. And I think her character is so interesting because the the rebellion that she's just so open with,
Mm-hmm.
we haven't seen that yet with the Inquisitors, right?
No.
They kind of seem to be, a team, and they all respect the Grand Inquisitor, and they, when they go out and do their thing. And to see someone who's so driven to go against, that was a different thing. And it's very Sith like, maybe more so than Inquisitor like, where it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, hey, I think I can do better than you. I'm gonna take over. And the fact that she was willing to just kill him, uh, pretty big shocker, especially if you're a fan of Rebels and know the future of
Yeah.
what's coming for that character. It's like, whoa, can they kill him in the show? I don't think so.
Well, see, that's why I'm thinking he's not actually dead. Or on the other hand, I mean, like I just look at Spider Mall,
Yeah,
you know.
or any
I,
number of characters that should be dead that didn't
yeah,
die. Yeah,
I'm like, okay, you're dead, great. so you'll be back.
Yeah, it's kind of a
I'm
Star
just
Wars
waiting.
thing, right? They like to kill a character for dramatic effect,
Hmm.
and even if it's not till three creators later, they
Hmm.
bring them back. Now, I do think this is more planned out than maybe previous things like Maul. When Lucas killed Maul, the intention was that Maul was dead, and it wasn't
Yep.
until years
I
later
mean,
when he was like, would be kind of cool to bring him back.
yeah.
Uh, but I think in this there's a plan, and I do
Hmm.
agree with you. I don't think he's really dead. I think there's going to be some sort of reveal. If I had to predict, I would say the third sister Reva is going to fail at what
Hmm.
she's trying to do ultimately, and that there will be a reveal kind of at the end of the show. Like I don't think Inquisitor's coming back to play a major role, but
Hmm.
I think that they'll have the Grand Inquisitor kind of a reveal at the end. Oh, for those of you that thought we
Yeah.
broke canon, here he is sitting in the back of the tank. He's fine.
You know what? I'm gonna be bold and I'm gonna say we're gonna find out what's up in episode 5.
Okay. I kind
Do
of
I
hope
have
you're right and
reasoning?
I'm wrong.
I don't
I,
know.
w- I would like that better.
I think, it's I feel like we've gotten so many surprises in this show so far.
Mhm.
And we'll get if we're so soon to getting some more.
Yeah, I know,
Um,
right?
yeah.
So wake up, have your cereal, watch some Kenobi.
Yep. That's the
It,
plan.
was there anything else in those first three episodes worth talking about, or should we jump over to?
I mean, I'm sure we could talk plenty about a whole bunch of the stuff, like,
Yeah.
the mole guy and that view of, you know, how he sort of represents casual going along with fascism and, still nice guy, still supporting fascist empire, all the little like Jedi name cameos that have popped up, like the fact that Corin Horn is now, well, he wasn't named
Oh
Corin, I
yeah.
think. Like that kid was named Corin, just like that was a
Now was that in
revelation for
the?
me.
Where did people pick that up? Was that in the credits?
So his name Corin in the credits, and then IMDb specifies his mother's name as Corin Horn's name. And he's going to like Force sensitive kid headed to Corellia. And I was like, oh my God. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see if that was a purposeful, like, hey,
It
let's
must be.
let's plant a seed for other things, or is it just, hey, let's throw out
Oh,
something that the fans will appreciate?
I think it's that one.
You think it's the second
Same.
one?
I do. Same with all the other the names on the wall. Someone nerdier and with more time on their hands than me went through and was translating some of the Arabesh for the names.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think someone said Valen's name on there. Another person said, I can't remember her name, but like Lord Nyax's mother's name was on there. And I was like, these are like deep cuts. And I appreciate that very much as a Legends fan.
I saw some of that translation stuff, and I will say, as somebody that kind of likes to translate Arabesh, I think some of the translations were a bit of a stretch.
Mm.
Some of it's really hard to read, and they were kind of taking a couple key letters and being like, well, it could be this name.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm not going to fully believe that that was the
Oh, yeah.
intention on some of that stuff. But if true, it would be
Mm-hmm.
cool that they did do those deep cuts. I always appreciate that. Quinlan
Yep.
Voss name drop. For you, the stuff that we were talking about for you, Alderaan, for me, Quinlan Voss.
Yeah.
When they said
Yep.
his name, huge fan of that character from way back in the Dark Horse
Mm-hmm.
comics. So I'd be excited to see another iteration of him. I don't know if we'll see him, or once again if it was just a name drop for the fans, but maybe wherever Kenobi's going.
My guess is it's a name drop in this series, but that opens doors for books and comics, and that if we see anything with him next, it'll be in those.
You think books and comics for him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know there were some episodes of Clone Wars that never aired that he was supposed to feature in more. And I kind of always wondered, in my mind, I thought Filoni seems to be a fan of the character because of how
Mm-hmm.
much he was intending to use him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do wonder if that might mean we see him somewhere, even
Who
if it's
knows?
even if it's in like the Ahsoka series or something, but
Mm-hmm.
you never know.